Good afternoon to you, Mark Sutter, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Outlook and discussion for Friday, the 10th of July, 2015. A lot to talk about today, so let's jump right in. First, I wanted to show you the subsurface anomalies as it relates to this El Nino that's now coming on strong. This is the surface of the ocean here. This is about 450 meters deep at the bottom, and this represents very warm water relative to average in the Pacific Ocean, now approaching what we call strong levels, almost record territory for the Pacific Ocean right now, and that has led to this tremendous upward motion pulse, or MJO, probably easier to say that, over the last several days. And that has resulted, this MJO pulse, in quite a lot of tropical cyclone activity throughout the Pacific Basin here. You can see the Atlantic is a big fat zero. We have areas from south of Mexico to between Mexico and Hawaii, which is right there. This is the remnants of Ella, which was once Dolores. It's confusing, isn't it? This is a pair of tropical depressions in the Central Pacific. This is Typhoon Nanka. This is Typhoon Chan-hom. And this is the leftovers of Linfa, now near Hong Kong. We can look at it, fortunately, with a different perspective. These are some great maps coming to us from Risk Pulse and Storm Pulse. Really privileged to be able to show these to you. I like it because you can see the geographic features of the land masses as well as your oceanographic features, what we call the bathymetry, or the shape of the ocean's bottom, with the tracking maps on top of that. So here's 98E south of the Gulf of Tehuantepec, 97E well to the southwest of the Baja. Here's leftovers of Tropical Storm Ella way off to the east-northeast of Hawaii, and then tropical depressions 1 and 2 in the Central Pacific. We'll get more specific on these in just a moment looking at the GFS. Moving farther to the west, in the Western Pacific, leftovers of Linfa over the Hong Kong area, north of Hong Kong, raining itself out. This Typhoon Chan-hom, about to make a landfall and then curve up towards the Korean Peninsula. And then farther out into the open Pacific nearing the Philippine Sea is Typhoon Nanka. So one at a time here. This is the track forecast for Chan-hom. Again, coming right into the eastern side of China. Pretty strong typhoon, very large in size. So it's going to bring a lot of rain, a lot of waves to the area. But then it's going to turn across the Yellow Sea up towards the Korean Peninsula, it does look like. And as you look at the satellite picture, an enormous circulation with this system, fairly defined, central dense overcast with a well-defined eye in the middle. Luckily, the cloud tops have warmed a little bit, so it's come off of its peak. It's not, a super 190 mile per hour typhoon like Haiyan was that went through the Philippines in 2013, for example. Nevertheless, this is going to cause quite a bit of damage. Very high waves along the coastline, a lot of torrential rainfall, and I read somewhere on Twitter that they're expecting economic losses in excess of $1 billion because of this system. So even though the Atlantic Basin is quiet, the Pacific certainly very active, and this is the result somewhat of the El Nino leading to that strong upward motion pulse. Although I have to say that this area through here, the water temperatures are not running much above normal like they are in the eastern Pacific. And that's more of a story for Monday when I go over the sea surface temperature anomalies in more detail. Looking at the Atlantic Basin real quick, just kind of tease you, nothing going on there. As I said, in the eastern Pacific, we do have a couple of areas of interest, both of them with high probabilities of development. And again, real quick, 98E closest to the coast, 97E farther out into the open Central Pacific there. If we look at the GFS, you can see both of these. This is 98, this is 97, and over time, this is valid tomorrow morning, by the way, west coast of Mexico right here, California, and then there is Hawaii. So all kinds of things going on this map. These are the tropical depressions that are sitting out there. This is the leftovers of Ella. Really none of these of any significance, especially for the Hawaiian Islands. Very little impact overall, so we won't worry too much about it. If we go to 48 hours out, 98E develops more than likely into a depression, and it's just enough off the coast of Mexico here that it probably won't bring too much in the way of sensible weather. By day 3, 98E moving on up towards the Baja, but it doesn't look very strong here in the model field. When you see it kind of taking on this Mickey Mouse shape, and that's exactly what it looks like there, kind of like a Mickey Mouse balloon. It's not perfectly round, so it's not showing up as a very strong feature in the model field, and so that tells me that it's probably not going to be very strong in reality. Then by day 4, it gets a little bit better organized looking, but there's just not that much energy with it, moving towards maybe slightly cooler water temperatures, whereas 97E out here in the open water looks like it may be the one that takes over and develops stronger. And by day 5, you can clearly see that. Fairly well developed in the model field, well to the east of Hawaii, well to the southwest of Mexico, so no worries from this. We'll put an X on it. This we'll keep an eye on, 97E, or 98E, sorry. See, a lot to keep up with. As it develops, may come close enough to the Baja to warrant a watch, tropical storm watch, maybe, we'll see. But no threats to land outside of our typhoon in the western Pacific, which when you think about it, with all that's going on out there, some folks are pretty lucky that we're not seeing anything worse than what we are with Typhoon Chan-hom. All right? Well, that's it. Hopefully you're up to date now for the weekend ahead. Again, in summary, no goings on at all in the Atlantic Basin. Few things to watch in the eastern Pacific, but nothing major. And, of course, we'll monitor the news headlines, follow it on Twitter as to what the typhoon does as it interacts with China and then eventually across the Yellow Sea towards the Korean Peninsula. All right, well, that's it from me for now. I'll take the weekend off unless we have anything to discuss that pops up out of nowhere. And if that's not the case, then I'll see you on Monday. Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. Thanks as always for tuning in. Have a safe weekend, and we'll talk again Monday afternoon.